As we mentioned at the start of the meeting, and some may have joined, we'd like to make sure we provide time to answer any comments or questions that folks may have today. So I'll briefly recap how we'll facilitate our Q&A and then open it up for discussion. On your Zoom screen, on the bottom of the screen, you should have the option to type in questions using the Q&A box. We did receive one comment initially here asking if today's presentation that Molly just walked through is available. And you should be able to see that we responded that the presentation is posted on the project's website, highway10corridorstudy.com. If you go to the public engagement tab, there is a link both to the PDF presentation and to the survey that Molly just mentioned. So I encourage you to follow that link and to share your thoughts. Before we wrap up today, I'll also add that direct survey link into the chat so you can jump over to that once we're wrapped up with today's meeting. So use the Q&A box to type any comments or questions. We'd also encourage anyone who's on the line today to raise a hand if you would like to talk and share a thought. I would just note that today's meeting is being recorded and this recording will be posted on the project website. So any comments, thoughts that you will share will be part of that recording and will be posted and available for anyone who's not able to attend today. I do see that we got one question come in, so we'll read that and then we'll turn it over to see if anyone would like to raise a hand and share thoughts as well. When evaluating impacts to businesses, specifically near Jarvis, was a tight diamond interchange considered? And Molly, maybe it might make sense to go back a couple of slides to take a look at Jarvis, Cleveland. I turn it over to you or to Matt initially to respond to that question about considering a tight diamond interchange.
Yeah, I can jump in and take that one. So initially we did not consider a tight diamond at this location due to the close proximity of the adjacent properties at this location. It would have still been pretty impactful when compared to a standard diamond. So it wasn't, we determined not to move forward with any other future or additional concepts at this location.
Thanks, Molly. If there's any other comments that folks would like to type in, otherwise we'll keep an eye out for that raise hand feature, which should also be at the bottom of your screen to indicate that you would like to voice a comment. And while we're waiting, I will add the survey link to the chat. You can go ahead and take a look at that as well. And we just received a question regarding an estimated construction date. I could start by saying that this corridor study will plan to conclude in early 2022, but Molly, maybe if you could provide any additional detail on timeline for construction.
Yes, thanks, Dan. So right now there's no programmed project on this corridor other than there is a surface project, I believe, and or Jennifer might need to jump in on that exact date. I believe it was in the 2025 timeframe. But as far as interchange construction, there's no money or there's no projects programmed at this time. The corridor study is meant to identify a vision for the 20+ years. So as you can imagine, the funding amount for projects of this size is large, so it will take, and there will be several years of environmental process that will need to happen. So it will be many years out before a project is constructed. So we put it in the 15 to 20 year time frame, 20+ likely. So I don't know, maybe Jennifer, you wanted to add any more about the surface project?
Yeah, I think the limits actually, if I'm remembering correctly, went to Jarvis. The one that I'm thinking about, it was a mill and overlay project. I think it was 25. It may have moved to 2027. As far as any additional projects in the area, other than that mill and overlay project that's currently planned, I can't recall any other projects unless Luke has some additional information to provide.
Yeah, the only District 3 project right now is going on just west of 101, 169 interchange. That's currently happening this year. So people are seeing that actively going on right now.
Thanks for those updates, Luke and Jennifer. We had another comment or question come in here. I'll go ahead and read that aloud and share it with the group. Would the Twin Lakes Road connection be considered for earlier implementation? 15 years is a long time for that intersection.
All right, I can jump in again, and maybe if Ryan had anything to add. So as far as the local roadway network alternatives that we have been exploring, those could happen earlier. That's kind of on the city as far as funding goes, and the identification of an actual project from the recommendations. With the Twin Lakes, with our future phases of the study, we'll be developing a phased implementation plan to identify projects that could come out potentially longer or earlier than the 20+ year timeframe that I mentioned earlier. So there'll be more details that will come out during our round of engagement this fall that will provide a little bit more context and details about projects that may happen sooner.
Sure, and thanks, Molly. This is Ryan Sandhoffner with the City of Elk River. I can add a few things to that. That connection along Twin Lakes Road, it's currently not connected down there at the southeast or southwest portion to the highway. That was kind of part of the initiation of this study, was to find out a good plan for that connection long term. So we wanted to kind of initiate the study to find out what our options were and goals were, our capacity expectations in the coming years, medium to long term, to determine what we want to do with that connection. It's possible that that could be done before anything is done, any type of interchange is considered, but we kind of want to be able to build on it and not do something that we're going to have to change rather soon. So there's no plans for that as of now, but we're going to see where this study goes, and then it's possible that some improvements will be made in the short to medium term. So thank you.
Yeah, appreciate the questions here today. I didn't see any other come in on the Q&A box, so we'll just pause for a moment and make sure that everyone has ample opportunity to share any thoughts or comments before wrapping up today's meeting. And while we're waiting for that to come in, I will just note that we have a second meeting of this same information that will be taking place from 5 to 6 p.m. this evening. The same format where we'll provide a presentation and then host a Q&A. And that recording will also be posted on the project website. So we'll hang just a minute. I don't see any other comments coming in. I did not see any hands raised, but would be happy to allow anyone that would like to verbalize a thought or two as well. So we'll just hang for just a moment. Otherwise, we will proceed to wrapping up today's meeting. And with that, we had one more comment come in here. Along the same line of questioning with regard to Jarvis and 165th, any plans for a connection to Twin Lakes north of the tracks to avoid crossing? Not sure if that goes to you first, Molly, or if you had any thoughts there.
Yeah, I can jump in again. So this will, again, as I mentioned, our next phase of this study is to work through an implementation plan and a little bit more details of local roadway network connectivity. So we'll have a little bit more maybe details to add it during our next round of engagement, and then maybe we'll turn it over to Ryan if there's any more discussion or thoughts on that question.
Sure. Yeah, a big part of this was kind of trying to tie in some of our local connections alongside of it, because the local connections are just as good as the, I guess, highway improvements. So we want to try to plan ahead for those and have different alternatives planned, because some of those areas in the southeast part of town don't really have great connections to the northern part through local or county roads. So we're trying to make improvements there. I think one of the alternatives notes up to a connection up to around that 172nd there. We have some right away just east of the train station right now. So that's on the northeast part of the tracks. And then also that 165th and Jarvis, a connection up to Fillmore Street is one we're considering heavily. So I guess as the study goes on, like I said, we'll try to plan ahead for some of those and try to implement those maybe before some of these major improvements on the highway itself. So I guess we'll just keep moving forward and see how the study goes, and hopefully we can implement some of those as sooner rather than later. So
Thanks, Ryan. And without any additional comments or questions coming in, we can recap ways that you can continue to stay involved. We appreciate you attending today's virtual meeting. We have shared in the chat links to both the study website and the survey that will be available till the end of June. We hope that you'll be able to take a few minutes to share your thoughts about priorities for the long-term 20+ year vision for the corridor using that survey. So we'll continue to promote that as a helpful input piece here through the month of June. Additionally, the study team would like to note that we have a third round of engagement, and some of the questions that came up today will continue to be folded into our final round of engagement as it pertains to a local roadway network and the phasing of improvements. On the screen, you can see the contact information. That contact information is also available on the study's website's contact tab. And with that, I think we will say thank you so much for joining us. If there aren't any remaining questions, we will call it a day and say, please visit the website to stay informed.